What if I told you that one of the most hauntingly beautiful tracks for any PlayStation game is in The Legend of Dragoon? And better yet, what if I said that track isn't found in its battles, overworld map, or cutscenes, but instead hidden in the quietest place of all, the inventory screen? That's right, the inventory, where you pause, take a breath, and prepare. But in Legend of Dragoon, this screen isn't just functional, it's special. There's a track here that feels almost too captivating, too evocative, for a place where players are simply managing items, healing up after a frustrating battle, or just saving the game. This isn't a song that's bold or dramatic. It doesn't shout, but it's not a whisper either. The song lingers even when you've left, but oddly, it doesn't make you feel anything emotional. It's not an emotional track the way Royal Castle is. Royal Castle plays when you get to Indel's castle and meet with King Albert for the first time. Something about that song is very emotional and tugs at something inside of you. Maybe it's the moment in the game. I don't know how to explain it. But the beat that plays in the inventory screen, it's just good. A banger with some clear groove. In such a subtle place too. That might be why the song has never left me. I still think about it to this day. Even though it's been quite a long time since I first played The Legend of Dragoon, and it quickly became my favorite JRPG of all time. I don't really remember the day, or moment, or exactly when it was that I first played Legend of Dragoon, but I know it was years ago when I was a little kid. I think it was just after its US release in the year 2000. I always enjoyed turn-based RPG combat, but the button combos you had to perform for each character's move, called additions in this game, coupled with the characters yelling their additions' names if you completed the combo perfectly.
Yes! Go! Volcano!
Look, I know it's controversial, but I preferred this game over any of the Final Fantasy games that seemed to overshadow it around the time of release. Final Fantasy X is special to me, but that's another story. The Legend of Dragoon begins in the kingdom of Serdio, a world torn by war and conflict, but its roots stretch far deeper. Centuries before the story starts, the ancient dragon campaign saw the powerful dragoons rise up to end the brutal reign of the Winglies, a mystical race wielding immense magic. That hard-won peace is fading when we meet Dartfeld, a young warrior who has been searching for the Black Monster, a mysterious figure responsible for the destruction of his hometown and the death of his parents. Returning from his search, Dart finds his current home, the village of Celis, in ruins, and his childhood friend Shayna, captured by Imperial forces. This leads Dart on a journey across Serdio and beyond, where he discovers he is destined to become a dragoon himself, one of the legendary warriors who once fought against the Winglies. Legend of Dragoon's music isn't just to fill empty space. It's part of the character's story, and somehow, it's part of your own personal journey through the game. The track that plays in the inventory screen isn't flashy. In fact, there's a kind of melancholy to it. A reminder that you're somewhere in between battles, in between moments. For a minute there, Legend of Dragoon felt like it wasn't just a game. It was inviting me to pause and simply to exist. I found myself wondering why such a soulful tune would play here, in the inventory screen of all places. It's something I've always thought about when I think about this game. There are so many awesome and memorable tracks. There's a reason why it's my favorite video game OST, and I'll die on this hill screaming that there are no skips. Every song is a banger. But the inventory music is just different though. That shows you how incredible the overall score must have been. Let's break it down for a moment, because most inventory music in games is designed to be neutral. You might get a calming loop, maybe something ambient, something that fades away as background noise. And usually that's fine. It doesn't need to do much. But Sony made a different choice. A choice to make this one screen feel as important as the battles, as memorable as the dialogue, almost as if this space was another world within the world. The beat is unlike anything you'd expect in a high fantasy JRPG. There's rhythm to it, almost hip-hop in style, with a pulsing bass line that hits harder than any inventory track screen has a right to. In fact, it's cool. It's almost too cool, actually. And that's completely unexpected. Why do these small details matter? Why does inventory music leave such an impact? I think it's because this moment wasn't meant to be flashy. It's not scripted or cinematic. It's, well, personal. In a way, it's more real than the epic battles or climactic scenes. It's in these moments in the inventory screen, as players, that we might connect most deeply with the game. Not because we're reacting to what's happening, but because we're given the space to reflect and pause. The music of The Legend of Dragoon is a collaboration between Dennis Martin, an American composer, and Takeo Muratsu, who brought his own unique style as a Japanese composer. Together, they crafted a soundtrack that feels both grounded and otherworldly, like a bridge between two musical worlds. Martin, with a background in Japanese television music, initially worked solo on the soundtrack. Sony sought something different for Legend of Dragoon, something that broke away from the high fantasy scores common to RPGs at the time. While Martin was known for his percussive and ethnic-inspired style, the team wanted more melodic tracks to pull players deeper into the world. This led him to incorporate groove elements, music that could loop endlessly without becoming tiresome, breathing life into battlefields and winding forests. The process wasn't without its challenges. Working within the limits of PlayStation's hardware tested Martin's creativity, but he drew inspiration from the game's art and storyboards, developing tracks that captured Dragoon's world perfectly. One of the game's first demo tracks became the unforgettable music for the game's opening cutscene. Meanwhile, Muratsu, known for his work on games like Jumping Flash, brought his own influences, adding even greater depth. Even years later, when I think of The Legend of Dragoon, it's not the dragons or the Dragoon transformations that I love so much that comes to mind first. It's that one beat playing in the inventory screen. It's strange, really, how this one little track, a track that could have been forgotten, lost among the epic moments throughout this long game, has stayed with me. Maybe that's the magic of these subtle moments in video games. Sometimes it's the quietest places and the subtle hidden things that end up meaning the most to us.